We got this.
We got this.
We got this. We got this. Whatever this is, we got this.
All right.
We are capable, competent, empowered women.
That's right. I'm so excited
do this.
for you. All right. I'm just double checking, but I think we're good. And if we're live, which I think we are, we're live. Woohoo!
Okay.
I love technology.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, you know, sometimes it just takes a little longer than we thought it would.
Yeah, we gotta be kind and gentle to ourselves.
Yes, you had to give some love to the computer.
I did. I had to.
And to the internet and to technology, because you know what? It really is amazing that we can actually talk and share. It really is amazing.
It really, really is. And you know, even 5 years ago, we would never have fathomed that we could do something like this. So I forgive my computer. I forgive Zoom. And I'm ready to go. So welcome to episode number 8 of Food, Mood, Attitude. After quite a long hiatus, I am so thrilled to be back with a special guest. And you know, I'm gonna butcher your name, so I'm gonna let you say it's Judy Prokopiak.
Yep, very good, very good. Yep, that's why just Coach Judy works.
Coach Judy works, yeah. And I would love to share with you a little bit about Judy. So. I got a chance to meet Judy very recently through a group program that we were both doing. And I just instantly felt drawn to your work and to you and how you express yourself. And I'm so thrilled that you are here today on our show. So Judy, or Coach Judy, as her friends and clients call her, has been coaching in some form for over 15 years. It's a long time. As a nurse and the head coach of a competitive swim team, she parlayed that experience into health, life, and mindset coaching, where she had to go on her own journey to better health. As a nurse and diabetes educator for over 22 years, she was determined to find answers, and she did. She found not only food and nutrition to support her well-being and success, she also discovered that much of her suffering was because of her own thinking. And I can't wait to hear more about this. Beliefs and stories of shame, unworthiness, perfectionism kept her stuck in overeating, overdrinking, and not feeling worthy of daring to dream a big new dream. She discovered that she needed a new way to think, a new way to be, and to learn to take back control over her thoughts. It's always a thinking problem. She now works with smart, powerful women to take back control of their minds, step into their full potential, and dare to go after their dream life. Wow, that is amazing, Judy.
And hey, that sounds really amazing. Who is that lady?
Who is that? I mean, somebody I'm interviewing.
Yeah, who is that? I think I want to meet her.
I know I want to meet her in real life. And today we're going to be chatting about how to give yourself permission to start dreaming a new dream of better health, better relationships, a better job, more abundance in all areas of your life, including technology. How to reframe your stories of shame, unworthiness, failure, and regret to tap into just how powerful we really are, and to see your story in a way that builds confidence and courage while also getting clear on your true desires. So welcome, Judy. Give us a little bit more about your backstory. I would love to hear your breakdown moment, your breakthrough moment, and what really lights you up in this whole journey. Start with your story.
Yeah, well, first of all, I adore you, which is why I had you on my crazy little show. But I'm really excited to be here because I love your work and I love your message and I love your spunk. And, you know, I really just love you. So I'm really happy to be here. And number 8 is like a lucky number, right? 8 is awesome. So we're just loving that, right? Because that's all good energy. Not that I'm some kind of energy healer. Like I'm on my journey. What's this energy stuff? Wow, okay. Oh, you mean I don't have to struggle? I don't have to struggle so hard? I can like tap into some of this stuff?
Tap into a different frequency, girl. You got this.
I was like, what is that? That's kind of, I used to think like, oh, those people are kind of woo-woo. Now I'm like, oh, I'm one of those people now. Yes.
I consider myself like woo curious. Like I'm super curious about woo stuff, but I'm like a skeptical woo, you know?
I like that. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm like, well, that seems really fascinating. I'm gonna go. Yes, curious woo. I like that. I'm gonna go investigate that. And then I'm like, wow, some of this stuff is really working. I guess I'll keep going.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for just for this opportunity to show up and share and tell a little bit about my story. So really. It kind of really started back in the 1978, 79. I qualified for the 1980 Olympic trials in swimming.
Wow.
And I was on my way to go, and life started falling apart. I had some illness and some injuries and some family dynamics that happened. And I just started to get into a place of unworthiness. And I had a swim coach that told me if I lost 5 pounds, I would swim faster. I did not need to lose 5 pounds. I was swimming miles and miles a day and lifting weights and running. And, so I proceeded to then develop an eating disorder that I really just struggled with for many, many years. I kind of managed over a short, about 4 or 5 years, to kind of manage the purging and the binging and the binge eating and that, but I still had the mental struggle for about 35 years. It was really just constantly there. So that was a big thing. And, and I met my biological father for the first time, kind of accidentally at 16. And he proceeded to tell me how, awesome I was and blah, blah, blah. And then he never called and he never showed up and so of course I thought, well, how could I have been, I must not be good enough. Right? I wasn't good enough for him to want me. He didn't want me when I was born. He didn't want to pay child support. It was like another blow and I thought, oh, he finally met me, right? And even though this was not conscious, I wasn't waiting to meet him or anything. There was this underlying kind of thing that, I just wasn't good enough. But when he finally meets me, he's going to see how awesome I am, right? And when that didn't happen, I didn't know, how could I be I didn't know how to be any more worthy. I didn't know what that looked like. I thought I was a good girl, made good grades. I was this champion, national champion swimmer. So I kind of got stuck in this swirl, and nobody in my family had done anything to this level. And back then, Title IX had just come in. So a lot of athletes, a lot of female athletes were just really starting to come into their own, their own journey. And so there wasn't really a lot of kind of support. I had great coaches, but my parents didn't know how to do any of this. And they had their own, dynamics that they were working through, their own struggles. And I had already kind of worked through I hadn't really, but I thought a lot of their problems were because of me, right? A lot of kids do that. If I'm just a better kid, then they won't have these problems. So I had a lot of this stuff going on and a lot of perfectionism. And, my mom she's such a great mom, but she had her own shame and unworthiness story. And so, here she was you need to be perfect and show the world that I'm the great mom, so one of that I'm doing something right. But one of her mantras was, there's that one, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of her mantras was practice at perfection makes perfect.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And I know that she just really meant to be exceptional, be the best that you can be.
Yeah, but that's not good for a perfectionist already.
Yeah, that did not go over well for somebody that's already struggled with shame and unworthiness and all of this stuff. Anyway, long story short, I didn't want to swim, and then of course we had politics, right? We boycotted the 1980 Olympics. I just felt like this whole dream, this big dream that I had worked so hard for, was just falling apart. And I didn't have another dream. I did not want to swim in 1984 Olympic. I just wanted to do that and be done. I didn't know what else I was going to do after that, but I didn't have any other dreams. Like I didn't dream about getting married. I didn't dream, like I was just like focused on this one dream and that's it.
Yeah.
So when that fell apart, I kind of just didn't know how to like, and of course that was my identity, and that was where I got all my self-worth, and that is where I got all of this so much, so much out of the swimming that I didn't know how to be another person. I didn't know how to be myself, right? And then my parents were like, well, you need to take a swimming scholarship. And I was like, I don't even want to take a shower. I don't even want to get in the pool, like, right? And it was really a struggle. And I had gained like 70 pounds my senior year because I really did not want to swim, and a lot of self-sabotaging. And anyway, I went off to college on this swimming scholarship, and it turned out to be a disaster. And, I ended up sort of sabotaging that whole thing. And pretty much they asked me to leave and say, thank you for showing up, but not so much. And so then, of course, I had a lot of shame about that, right? I let my parents down. I let my college team down. I let I just like felt like I let everybody down, and I let myself down. And like, I knew what it took to be like this strong, courageous girl. And I just couldn't get it together, right? I was like, I don't know. So anyway, came back home and I just found like 3 jobs and, just tried to bury myself in, right? Just be busy.
The busy badge of honor.
Right? I'm just going to be busy. I'm just going to be a human doing instead of a human being. Right? And,
right. That's
right. And so I spent a lot of that. I met my husband. That was amazing. We have a couple of kids. And then, along the way, right, I went back to nursing school and, trying to just create a life, right? But all the while just feeling like I had to find my worth out there. I had to, if I could just be, be the best nurse and be the best mom and be like, I was trying to find my purpose and my path. And like, I don't know, like maybe this is it. And then maybe this is it. And it just felt like I felt like I was divinely inspired to go do these things. However, it still always felt like a struggle. Like I wasn't even good enough. Like I was still trying to find the, my own worth, right? And now I know I was trying to find it out there, but it was always an inside job.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So, eventually, so now 35 years go by and different things, and I decide to become a swim coach, take a little break from nursing. And, and it was all good, but I still had like this story because I hadn't really healed that story. There were many years I could not talk about my swimming and like I couldn't talk about it. And my husband would be like, oh, she was like this great swimmer. And I was like, yeah, no. Let's talk about something else. Because I didn't know how to process it, right?
That's what I was just going to ask. Like, what were you filled with when asked to speak about that? Like, what was the underlying emotion for you?
Oh, it was, I would be right back in that story of being a 17-year-old girl that, why did I do that? What's wrong with me? I'm stronger than that. I could have just figured it out. I could have just swam. Or I could have said, no, I don't want to go to college and swim, like, right? I didn't know how to honor my own intuition, right? And that's so every time that would come up, I would be right back in that story. And that kind of leads into how I help a lot of my clients now is that they get triggered, right? We get triggered by something. And unless we've kind of healed some of this story, and of course I reframed it over time. And if that hadn't happened, I would never have met my husband. I wouldn't have my kids. Like, right? I mean, I've been able to reframe it, but the emotion was still connected to that. The shame and the unworthiness was still kind of connected to that. And so every time that would kind of come up, and of course, what did I do? I dove in, become a head coach of a swim team where I'm like constantly surrounded by that was the universe saying, we're going to heal this story eventually.
Yeah. And also what a gift that was so that you could impact other young people and not have them go through that same
Right.
sort of spiral of shame and unworthiness and worry and concern, eating
Yeah.
disorders, all of that.
Absolutely. It made me such a better coach. It made me such more, I mean, I'm already I'm already an empathetic person, and being a nurse and a pastoral care nurse. But that experience really forced me to become a different kind of coach. For my swimmers. I was very much a different, I still motivated them and encouraged them and inspired them, but I wanted it to come from inside, right? I wanted it to come from a place, you know what? You can have your goal of the Olympics, but very few people actually make that,
Yeah.
You can have your goal as a state champion, and guess what? You know what? There's only one person can win one time a year, right? I mean, like, you could still swim your best and do your best and everything, and you still could not win, right?
Oh my gosh, of course. And it's
Right?
like, and it's what I'm also here, like, as you're talking, I was thinking about like the external motivation versus internal motivation. And for a long time, you were externally motivated to be on that team, to be the best swimmer, to accomplish and to do for maybe for your parents, maybe for other reasons, and that you needed to shift to intrinsic motivation, which was coming from the joy of the process.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening. But you did eventually trust your intuition, and your intuition was right all along.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. Oh, wow. So then you parlayed into becoming a coach for just a life coach, right? Is that what you call yourself? A life coach?
I'm some kind of a
hybrid.
Yeah, I am. I'm really just, I'm kind of some kind of a transformational empowerment, kind of get out of your own way, get your dream. One time I was like trying to figure it all out. What am I? And I texted my daughter and I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm like the dream coach, and then the story whisperer, and the thing, and the whatever, and happy, healthy, worthy, wealthy. And so she texts me back as I was like trying to find a name for my business and all this stuff, and she's like, "Yeah, Mom, just do that. Be the get your dream, happy, healthy, worthy story was just be that coach, just be that lady."
You could be the restory coach.
I actually have that. I have that on my business card. The restory.
I love that.
Yeah. Although people are like, what is that?
Excuse me?
That's okay. But actually, yeah, I love that. I love that you picked up on that there was this, I kept looking out there for so long because that was, number one, the worthiness piece, but also this external motivation. And yeah, we do need sometimes, you don't show up for work if you think you're not going to get a paycheck, like, right? I mean, we are inspired by, external things, but at the same time, there's so much more peace and joy and energy and motivation and inspiration when it comes from inside.
Oh, yeah.
Like, right? I mean, yeah, you have to kind of get your kids to brush their teeth. Like, just telling them, well, we don't want your teeth to rot isn't enough sometimes. Sometimes there are consequences.
You mean, maybe that doesn't work for your kids, but for mine, no, I was kidding.
Yeah, just brush the ones you want to keep. Just do that.
I know. What's so funny? You bring up flossing. I mean, brushing and flossing because, what's that?
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm all about the intrinsic wisdom and the intrinsic motivation, but like, I just don't like the nighttime routine. I just don't like having to like wash the face and brush the teeth. And I keep trying to think of like how I can make it like a joyful process and like, no, but the truth is I am trying to ward off wrinkles. I am trying to not get cavities. So something, it's okay. You're right. Sometimes it is okay to be externally motivated.
Yeah.
But because there's going to be things that we have to do in our lives. We have to brush our teeth. We have to pay our bills. We have to do so-and-so.
Well, we don't have to. There are just consequences if we don't.
Right. But what you're talking about is this foundation of satisfaction and meaning in your life. Yeah. And that has to come from completely inside, because if it's for anybody else, or if it's for some other sort of arbitrary external adoration, accolades, money, esteem, belonging, all that stuff. If that's the driving factor, then it won't ever be sustainable because it's not coming from this place of passion.
Right. Number one, it's not sustainable because you have to keep getting after another carrot. Like, right, you're chasing carrots, you're chasing, like with weight loss, you can't be like, ooh, I got to lose weight for this wedding. I got to lose weight for this cruise. I got to lose weight. You're constantly then chasing another thing out here, right? Yeah. And so it's not sustainable because you're always having to find a new reward, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that it's so hard, like, right? Because it feels hard. It feels like a struggle. It feels like it's work.
It's arduous.
And it should feel like effort, but it shouldn't feel like this is so hard. Why is everything so hard? And then that's where this whole dream building comes in, right? That's this intrinsic piece, right? And so for all those years, basically I stopped dreaming because I really pretty much did, but really I stopped dreaming big. Like, right, that was a big dream. That was go to the Olympics, right? So then I just stopped dreaming big. So it was kind of like, oh, well, I could go, I only dreamt something that I knew I could accomplish, right? So my dream was only that big. Even though it was still challenging, like, how am I going to go to nursing school with 2 kids and these crappy grades that I got to bring with me? I got to submit that transcript. Yeah, that was awesome. Sometimes you can't start over. You got to bring your baggage with you, but
so I'm guessing you weren't on the dean's list. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I ended up on there. I ended up graduating at the top of my class and winning the Nightingale Award and going on to be a great nurse. And, so it really was this motivating factor. Mm-hmm. But this is where this dream, a bigger dream, comes back in. And that comes from this intuition, that comes from listening to yourself and listening to I like to call them, it's not my words, but little rockets of desire, right? That little thing where you're like, oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so much fun. Oh, I think I would love to have a food truck, or like, right, these little things that come up and you're like, I would love to have a gluten-free, dairy-free food truck. Where is that?
Wait, what are you calling it?
Rockets of desire.
Like, I love that.
Right? They kind of like, they kind of start exploding out and you're just like you feel goosebumps and you feel excited and you feel inspired. And then what do? We squash it with, how would that ever work out? I have no idea how would I ever go back to school and become a nurse and blah, blah. How would I ever start a business? How would I, whatever, right? How would I get, adopt 4 kids or whatever? How would we do that? And so we kill these rockets of desire with the how, with the overthinking, with the, right? You can relate to that. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, I want to get out there and speak. What am I going to say? I don't know who's going to listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing.
I totally resonate with that. And it's so true. Like, we all do this in some ways based out of fear or even just the overwhelm of the steps involved. I think often stops us. Like, my daughter, is always coming up with these ideas. Like, she's like, I want to make an invention where you can swallow this device and it's like a walkie-talkie and you can talk to anybody who's passed away. And I was like, that's brilliant. I'm like, do it. Like, we need to have something like this. But, like, if they get squashed early in life, like, oh, that's silly. That's ridiculous. Nobody can do that. It's not possible. Then we start to believe that. And we don't strive for those bigger goals and those bigger dreams. Yeah.
Because we're being told, oh, that's sweet, but that won't work out. Like, that's impossible. That's so, I don't know how, like, right? Because we have this mindset because we have been kind of told 60,000 times before we're 3, no, right? And what happens is when you start, if you've had some experiences that didn't turn out so well, like going to college the first time, then you don't trust yourself. You don't trust that you know what's best for you because you're like, well, that didn't work out. Obviously, I can't make my own decisions. Like, right? Obviously, I don't know how to choose for myself. obviously I don't know how to feed myself, but now I'm 70 pounds overweight, right? It's like, obviously I need to find answers out there, or I need someone to tell me what to do. And so we tend to stop listening to ourselves. And then guess what happens? Then there's more regret, because when you go right, because everything on paper says to go right, but your intuition and your belly was like, go left, and you didn't go, and you didn't do it. And you're like, you so regret it, because you're like, why did I do that? Like, I so wanted to do this instead. And right.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, like, so when you're working with somebody, how do you get people to, if they've had those kinds of experiences and they've lost that sense of trust and efficacy in their own abilities and their potential, like, how do you work with people to reclaim that trust?
Yeah. So one of the first things we do is, right, you have to give yourself permission to start dreaming again, right? So no matter what happened, like, just at least, it's like going to a restaurant and looking at the menu and not looking at the prices, right? Just being like, wow, I would really love blah, 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 right? But we're constantly drawn to the side with the prices. But at least decide, what would I love? What would I love on this menu? And then decide, do I want to pay $25 for that? Maybe not, right?
And
right?
Also menus now have the calories on there too. So you have to feel like, okay, do I want to spend this and this? And it's like,
yeah,
leave it aside. And what is it that you're caught? What's calling?
Exactly. So what would you love? And just giving yourself at least the opportunity to kind of make it up, right? Make it up. Like, just, what would I love? That doesn't mean you have to do it, or you're going to do it, or, you don't have to get into all that how, what, why, where, when. Just at least be, what would I love my life to look like? What would I love my relationships to look like? What would I love my environment, my house, whatever? Where would I love to live? What would I love to be doing, like, as my vocation, as a volunteer, as an impact in the world, or whatever, right? What would I love? We just never allow ourselves that, right? We just don't. We have that moment, and then we're like, squash, 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 kill it, right? With the doubts and the fear. So that's the first thing, permission to start dreaming, and just dream big, but whatever. I'd love to live in a house by the beach, whatever, right? And then, then you have to kind of get out of your own way, because you've got some stories that I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve that, or that's selfish to want more. I had that. I was an only child too. So I had that selfish thing. I had that story. So then I helped them kind of reframe the story, and I helped them see just how powerful and courageous and strong they have been, and how they did listen to their intuition, and how they did do these things, and how they, like me, I went back to school and I figured it out. And there was some other things going on that motivated me, but I did it, right? It all worked out.
I'm so inspired by this story, Judy. Just,
thank you.
I love it. I know, I love it. I love, like, how many obstacles you've overcome, even just the story about your father, I think, was so impactful. It could have gone a totally different direction for you. And you were able to really change your own story and change your thoughts about what was possible for you. And that's just incredible. Now, do you still have any type of relationship with your dad, or no?
No. As a matter of fact, so I met him at that time, I was like 16. It was when I got married and had a baby, I called him and I said, he lived in the same town, but I said, hey, I just want you to know that, you have a grandchild, and, if you want to have I gave him this opportunity. I just felt called to do that, right? I just felt my mom and my stepdad were good with it. Although in hindsight, years later, my mom was like, I knew it wasn't going to work out. But anyway, but she was always gracious about, and he kind of abandoned her as well. So, but anyway, it was just my mom and I for many years. But anyway, so he invited us to dinner, and again told me this story about, oh, I want to be in your life, and la la la, all of this stuff. And then nothing, no phone calls, no nothing. I finally, a year and a half later, sent him a return receipt letter with a picture of our son and a phone number. This was 1980. 6. So, no emails, no nothing. But he had to sign for the letter. And I just wrote in there, you know what, I wouldn't have a friend like you. If you want to be in my life, here it is. But like, I can't do this. Like, I just can't do that. And so he never responded ever from that time. And over the years, of course, I was like, well, it's your loss. You're missing out, knowing that I've come to realize that I'm a pretty good person. Like, I think still had my own shit show going on, but but hey, I wasn't in jail, and I was doing good. I was doing pretty good. But I had this amazing husband, and I had this beautiful little boy, and I just kind of reframed it, and I thought, you know what, you're the one missing out. I gave you this opportunity. You're the one missing out. But inside, still, like, right, it still hurt. That, like,
it hurts so bad.
And so anyway, so that was that. And it wasn't really until about 5 years ago that I kind of really healed that, really healed it, and looked back at all the times I just felt rejected and rejected and rejected and rejected. And even though consciously I had reframed it, I still had, like we talked about before, this trigger, this emotional thing that I wasn't good enough somehow. So anyway, but yeah, reframing the story, whatever that story is, because a lot of us get triggered and we're right back in the story. See, that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's 16 and pregnant, and then, they go on to do amazing things. They get a degree, they start a business. And then all they have to say is, wow, you look too young to have a 20-year-old. Mm-hmm. Where are they? They're right back in that story.
Yeah.
Right? What college did you go to swim at? Oh, I'm right back in the story, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens, is that we get stuck in that story, but we're not that person anymore. So we got to stop telling that. We got to stop believing that story.
So how do you help people? Like, do you help them revisit that trauma, or to get into a relaxation response?
Well, it's really interesting, because what ended up working for me was, of course, I tried affirmations and, I'm good, I'm strong, I'm powerful, but I felt like I was just putting affirmations on a chicken shit sandwich. And I was like, okay, it tastes a little better, but it's still kind of...
You couldn't fake it till you made it.
No. And I was faking it and then I never, when did I make it? When is this happening? I just felt like I was faking it. And, but what I found was that by really looking at all the different stories, so I start with stories where you're proud of something that you've done in your life. I start with stories where you felt successful, stories where you were courageous, where you're like, how did we get through that? How did we survive that, right? Yeah. And then we talk about, the story that has some shame or failure, where you just believe you failed, or you believed you could have done better, or you believe that you let yourself down or someone else down. Doesn't mean that you did. It just means that's what you're believing about this story.
Yes.
And then I show them, look at how you did this and this and this, and you overcame here, and you did this, right? And then, is this really true? The facts are the facts about the story. Yep, I failed out of college the first time. Yep, I blah, blah, blah. But the facts are, what am I believing about that story now, right? Mm-hmm. So I can still believe the truth of that story, but I don't have to believe the shame and the shit show. I was like, you know what? I did the best I could. I made the best choices I could make. I didn't know what I didn't know. I was living in my own garbage, doing the best I could. And it's like anything, when you know better, you can do better. So I really show women how they have been strong and empowered from a childhood. And that the fact, whatever, you got pregnant at 16, but look at what you've done. Look at how you've overcome. Look at who you've become now, right? And so it helps you kind of step out of that story, right? Step out of that, right? And then I also give you some tools to help you stay in the new story, right? Right? Because staying in the new story, I give you some ways to do that. And then taking some action, right? That shows, because, right, we have a lot of evidence of that story, but...
and we look for evidence to support the story.
Correct. Because then we created the story that I wasn't good enough, that I was blah, blah, blah. So we were manifesting more of that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I found that a number of things that I've done along the way helped me in this kind of story shifting and story. And I was like, ooh, I love that. And then I would do more of that with me myself. And then, oh, that worked out. And then, oh, this is a great piece. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, really helping them feel more empowered about that story. Like I said, facts are the facts. We cannot go back and change anything, and we can't change the choices that happened after that. But we can also really see, like our brains are wired for negative, right? Mm-hmm. So all we've been thinking about for the last however many years is all the stuff that didn't go right.
Yeah.
And we kind of forget all the really things that we did do. That we had to, and who did we have to become? We had to dig down deep and find our courage and get brave and do hard stuff and have hard conversations. And, maybe people had to get divorced and they had to do this and they had like whatever, right? Because then from that place where you're feeling more empowered, then you can say yes to more. Yes, I can go do a bigger dream. Yes, I can, because you have the dream, but you don't feel empowered to go get it. Right. And so working on the story that is holding you back, the story, and there's numerous stories, we have money stories. We have, like, I was a financial burden to my parents story, right? All that swimming cost so much money and blah, blah, blah. And they had they had their own money story. But then I felt like, right, they had ended up filing bankruptcy. It didn't have anything to do with me. But right, I had some of these beliefs that I already wasn't good enough. I created all these problems and blah, blah. So I didn't realize until a few years ago, till I started a business, I was like, what's going on with my money mindset? And then I realized felt like I was a financial burden to my parents. And guess what? I didn't want anybody out there to feel financially burdened. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want the church to feel burdened. So I worked for free. I didn't want the swim team to feel burdened. So I barely got paid, right? I didn't want my clients to feel burdened. So I was like, oh, just pay me a little bit, right? What did I do? I reframed the story and I said, guess what? I am not creating a burden for you. I am relieving you of your burden of your diabetes out of control, your burden of your extra weight, your burden of your shitty show going on in your head. You're right. Yeah. So that's what I do is I can just help. We all have these stories. We're the firstborn. We're the, I wasn't a good enough mom or a good enough daughter or a good enough whatever, right?
Yeah.
So whatever the story is.
And what I love about what you're doing is that it comes from such a place of compassion and forgiveness. And that's something that we're lacking in our lives. So many people are so writing that story of their lives and putting it as a weight on us. Yeah. And I apologize, they're doing some landscaping outside all of a sudden. But I remember when I first met you, when I was on your show, I was late or something. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. And you're like, what if you were not to say I'm sorry? What if you were to say, thank you for being patient? And I was like, that's such a beautiful way to reframe this. Like you were taking it as something like, it's my fault. The burden's always on me, instead of reframing and saying, hey, thanks so much for being patient. A lot's been going on. And what I loved about that is that you assume the best of yourself and others. Yeah. You reframe the story to come from the best case scenario. Like there's all these scenarios, and it could be, you could go down this tunnel of like, oh, she's so, she's not being fair, and like, why is she wasting my time and blah, blah, blah. But you're so compassionate, and you help other people to be compassionate with themselves. Yeah. I think that's what is so powerful about what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for noticing that. It was really hard for me to be compassionate with myself. That was a big hurdle. And, I think we're just conditioned to thinking like, if I just beat myself up a little more, I'll do better.
Well, that's how I always lived my life with dieting, right? If I just exercise a little more, if I just restrict a little more.
Yeah. If I just had a little more discipline.
Yes, a little more willpower, I would get there. Yeah. And I think that there's so many parallels to what we're doing, what I'm doing, and what you're doing. It's about reframing the story about who we are as eaters too,
Yes.
and how we live in our bodies, because there's plenty of residual evidence that we could come up with, conjure up to say, well, no, I'm a binge eater, or no, I can't eat cookies, I'll eat the whole bag. Right. And the same thing is
right. Stop telling yourself that story. Stop saying that.
yeah, because it's keeping you small, and it's keeping, figuratively, and it's keeping you like constricted and like unable to see the possibilities.
Yeah.
And the way that you help people, you open up, it's like expansive. You open
Yes.
up new possibilities of thinking about your story, or maybe even having a tabula rasa, like there is no story. Let's just start with what is.
Yeah.
Now.
Just being now. I mean, I love what you do, because it really is so exactly the same thing. The truth is, most of us that are in this work are doing the same thing. We're just coming from our own little journey, our own thing. But yeah, for sure, you are helping women reframe their relationship with food and themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And right, and what, like, that's the longest, unless you outlive your parents. I mean, unless your parents outlive you, your longest relationship, right, is with food.
Yes, and your body.
And your body. You got this body from day one, and you started eating right away. So yeah, and you're gonna eat until you go. So you might as well make friends with the food.
Right? It might as well be joyous and pleasurable and not miserable every second of the day. Right. Yeah. I mean, and even just today, like I was like, I was running late, and my computer broke, I had to reboot my computer, and I was like, I hate my computer. And you're like, do you really hate your computer? Can you love your computer? I was like, I forgive you, computer. I love you.
I loved it. She's typing. So we're trying to do a messenger, because we couldn't communicate. We could see each other. We couldn't talk. And so she's like, I hate my computer. I'm like, oh, send it some love. Come on.
Send it some love. And send it some compassion. Oh, Mac, I just love you.
Yes, right. But it's so easy to just go there and just be, And but the more, like anything, the more that you do it, the more that you train your brain to be in gratitude for what you have. And like I said, permission to give yourself, to start dreaming again. Let's reframe some stories. Let's decide what you really want and why do you want it. Like, why do you want health, right? Yeah. Why do you want to be healthy? Right. Like, just because, like, I'm supposed to be on a diet, so I better be on a diet. Like, no, why? What do you want to do? Right? Do you want to go hike an Appalachian Trail, or you just want to play with your kids, or you just want to, like, right? Why do you want to be healthy? And then, just go after your dreams, and then believe in yourself, and, claim it, and just say, and take some action. I got this. I'm doing this thing, whatever it looks like. I'm going to, right? What could you do? I love this thing. I love to say this. What can you do? Like, when you have this big dream, right? And it feels so overwhelming, you just say, what can I do where I am with what I have? Like, to move toward that.
What can I do with where I am and what I have? Yeah. I love that.
Like, what can I do? What could I do right now? You'd be like, well, I could make a phone call. I could create a little Canva Facebook thing. I could
send an email. I
could journal something. I could, whatever. I could do a Facebook Live show.
That's right.
But yeah, you're so perfect. Like, food, mood, and attitude. It's all of that, right? It's like, what is your attitude, right? Attitude is everything. That was one of my big swim coaching mantras. Attitude is everything, right? If you don't believe it, my swimmers would say, I can't go under a minute. I can't go under a minute. I'm like, well, until you believe it, not going to happen. Like, you've got to believe that you can do it.
Yes. And the most impactful thing that you said today for me was about the reframing your story. Like you couldn't fake it till you made it, because you were just putting a salve on a wound. And instead, now you actually use evidence to support. Like, I'm in a mastermind that I run, and one of the other people who run it with me does an authority resume, where you write down all the places that you have shown leadership and authority in your life. These are for people who are starting their business. Yeah. And you could do the same thing. Like, we're always immediately finding the evidence to the belief that we have.
Right.
And the hard work is finding the evidence to the contrary of what you
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's how you move from faking it to you make it to really believing it.
Correct.
And I love that so much. Judy, how can people find you and work with you and stalk you and like
Stalk me.
like
Stalk
Facebook
me.
stalk
Wait,
you?
what is that? I had a Facebook post not too long ago, and it was said, if you hang out with me too long, I'll brainwash you, into believing in yourself.
Hey, you can brainwash me anytime, girl. I'm gonna Facebook stalk you from now on.
Oh, I love it. I'll take all the stalkers. It's fine. I figure if they're stalking me, it's all good. I'll stalk you back. It's all good.
Okay, sounds good. So what's the
But,
best way for people to find you?
Yeah, so my website is judyprokopiak.com, which is kind of long, but you can get it. Prokopiak, nice little song there. Or you can find me on Facebook, Coach Judy Prokopiak. You can find me there. And then Instagram is What Would Coach Judy Say?
I love that.
And the reason that is because my clients used to tell me, yeah, I really wanted the cupcake. And then I thought, what would Coach Judy say? I was really beating myself up, and I thought, what would Coach Judy say? They're like, you're in my head. You're in my head.
Sometimes I'll say, WWJD, what would Jenny do?
Exactly. Yeah, I started to do that too. Like, what would Coach Judy, like, right?
Yeah.
It was the same thing.
And you have a free gift for us too, don't you?
I do. I have a, you can go on my website, and on my homepage there's actually a 30-minute video, and it is about your journey back to health starts with a dream. And it really is kind of what we talked about. You need to why do you want to be healthy? What do you want? And then, claiming your story and your belief. And like, there's some tips and tools in there to kind of help you get started on this journey back to health, right? And then claiming, because I was actually very sick. I didn't tell that part of the story, but I had leaky gut, autoimmune colitis about 10 years ago. And so on top of the shame shit show and the eating craziness, I had this then happen. So anyway, but there's that. And then, so I'm also offering, I call it a 2-hour flip your script session. And it's basically what I talked about. We're going to take you on a little journey for empowerment. And I am giving you a code. I think it's flip 80. So for $80 for this 2-hour session,
Wow.
It's huge. I used to only just do it with my clients in a package, in a 12-week package. But I pulled it out for a little while because it's so powerful, and it really gets women moving, and it really gets them confident, and really gets them kind of seeing themselves in a new way. And so I pulled it out, number one, to just keep, I love doing it. I just love how it changes someone's life in 2 hours.
That's amazing.
And I just wanted to do it. So anyway,
I love it. That's like such an incredible prize for people.
Yeah. Well,
2 hours of your time. That's amazing. What I'm gonna do is put the code in the comments,
sure.
Plus the website, and wait for them to reach you. And if anybody wants to take advantage of that, I can't say enough about you, Judy. I mean, you're a force to be reckoned with, girl.
Thank you. Well, I had to get out of my own way, and I'm still sometimes, swimming out past the rocks, the jetties, to get out into the blue ocean there. But, sometimes I'm getting on the rocks and getting, cut up, but it's okay. I'm going.
We all have to get cut up. That's part of it,
That is. That's what makes it. You are a breath of fresh air. I just love hanging out with you. You're so fun.
I agree.
Yeah, and you really embody that joy of being in your own body, in your own space, in your own comfort level. And I'm not saying it's easy for you either. I'm sure some days we all just keep having these challenges. But I love that you're just showing us really how it's doable, right? We need evidence, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Right? We need evidence that women can do this, because I like you, was like, what do you mean you don't know there's potato chips that aren't calling you from the pantry? Like, you women are lying. You women that are normal eaters, like, you're lying.
Yeah, that can't be. What?
Yeah, I didn't believe them. And now I'm just like, oh, look, there's potato chips in here.
And I can take it or leave it. Amazing.
And I can take it or leave it. And you know what? And if I want to eat a couple bowls of potato chips and have some wine, okay, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm going to enjoy my life and live it. And yeah.
Oh, I have to have you back, because I feel like I could talk to you for like another hour, because
I'm happy to, maybe we can collaborate on something else, something new. Maybe we can do something.
I haven't even asked. Okay. I actually we have to finish, but I haven't even asked you about the diabetes education. I want to hear about that too. I'm going to have you back sometime. We'll go
another time. That's fine. Yeah.
We'll just jam online some other time too.
We will. It will be awesome. But there's so many amazing coaches and healers out there. And I just know they're going to be drawn to you and how you're going to show up and share what you're doing, but also, how we can we're all just trying to find a way to help women stop living like this, stop suffering. You don't have to suffer. Like, whatever you're suffering from, find some help.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was just going to say right back at you, because there's a sea of practitioners and healers and helpers and coaches. And above that whole sea is like, you're like rising to the top just because of your authenticity, and you're just so genuine. It's like a mutual admiration show here today.
I love you. I love
you too.
That's how it should be. Why not?
Why not? And I love
what? We love all of you. We love all of you.
We love you, and we love our computers.
We love technology.
We love technology. It's Technology Tuesday. So
it's Technology Tuesday, and we're in love with it. Because you know what? We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to love on each other and love on you and just share. You know what? We just want to share. Like, oh my gosh, do not spend 35 years suffering.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Like, get some. Don't be like me. No.
It's not worth it to wait 40 some odd years to get it.
No.
Yeah.
Please don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't want to work with me or Jenny, there's somebody out there that can help you. You know what? And you don't have to do it alone, because you know what? You can't. Yeah. You really can't. You got to get out of your own way.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, thank you so much, Judy. I will see you so soon. And now I got to see.
I love all your colors and your crazy, like.
Oh, it is crazy.
It's like, I feel like I'm in some kind of animated cartoon thing happening.
I've got a green screen, but it's not ideal because I got to work on my aesthetics. All right. Bye, everybody.